in our series for the CGL Talk Show. We talk about it and put this week in media and in present world events for this week. So, our script for the week 7/12 is pretty interesting. Got a lot of stuff, music, gaming, as well as a near-death experience on a Delta Airlines flight. So we start that. I'm joined here by CGL, Holy One, and Black Dragon. Both join me here for the CGL Talk Show.
What's up?
What a nice, lovely welcome from Holy.
Aaron, what's up, guys? I included my audio.
Beautiful.
Alrighty.
So we're gonna start out by going. We might go a little out of order here. Number one. Blink-182 are currently on tour, and Lil Wayne is joining them on this tour throughout the United States. And on a show in Bristol, Virginia, Lil Wayne had decided to walk off the stage 4 songs into the concert and said that he was done with the tour. I mean, that's pretty harsh. I mean, I'm not even sure he can legally do that. If he signed a
That's pretty ballsy. Yeah, if they sign a contract, then legally standing, you can't do that.
That's all people, though. Look at how people chucked water bottles at Justin Bieber.
I mean, when you buy a ticket stub to a concert, it's a little different than walking off the stage in the middle of a performance, because like the Blink-182 is probably like, where the fuck is he going? We got like 5 more songs to do. And then like that's a huge thing that they had to deal with if people bought a ticket to see Blink-182 and Lil Wayne together, and they can only now see Blink-182, that might be a problem for some people. Some people might ask for money back. Some people might ask for, reimbursement stuff. Now, when you buy a ticket, there's no refunds. Most of the time, there's no refunds. There's no exchanges and stuff. And they have a right to change the ticket if they want to, so they cover themselves legally. So that being said, they probably got away with it.
But the thing though is, like,
they
did
might
you have
go
a
after
reason
Wayne.
to just walk off, or did you just say fuck it and left?
I believe it was more of a fuck it and leave type thing, because they really had no context to it. It's just kind of like they said he walked off the stage in a Bristol, Virginia show with Blink-182, only 3 songs in, and he's just like, you know what, I want out. And he was telling, I guess he called his agent and was telling him he wanted out of the tour. So I guess they had that.
Tour, so that's
yeah.
That's gonna be like a big legal thing now.
I think it was like they started in, I think it was Atlantic City or something like that, and they've been going pretty much west. So
what it sounds like is it's Lil Wayne, right?
Yes, Lil Wayne.
Lil Wayne. It sounds like Lil Wayne wasn't getting, I guess, what he wanted. Or like, I know with touring, you get like paid, and he's not getting paid enough or something. Because when you're doing a tour, you have to have a reason to just walk off and quit.
I don't know if it was money or like, I don't know what. Maybe just like, okay, I don't really want to do this anymore.
Maybe he's not
a lot of shows. Maybe
he's not into that type of. But maybe he's not into that type.
Because we are talking about Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne
he is a little bit
has
of a
money.
Madonna.
It's not like someone like Lil Pump walking off. Lil Pump doesn't have that much money. Lil Wayne has money. He can destroy a Lamborghini and go, I don't care.
Lil Pump is trying to fit in where
He's
he
trying
doesn't
to fit
belong.
in, but he doesn't have the bank account to like.
I like
Lil
Lil Pump.
Pump.
He's still
Went
making a lot
South
better
Korea
off than
and
most people
said-
his age.
Did you see Lil Pump try to flex like 200? I'm gonna probably butcher it, but like 200 won in South Korea. I think it was on a story. I calculated how much money that was. He was flexing $167 US and 200,000 won. That's not that much money to flex on. I could go do
Oh,
that
yeah.
now. And have more than Little Pump say, screw you.
Obviously, the guy just wants to. A lot of people with cases with famous people, and if they're flexing, a lot of times, even if they have a Lambo and stuff, they can rent it. You can rent a Lambo for a couple $100 a day. Take as many pictures of it as you want. Pretend like that, that's your Lambo. Obviously, they don't say, "Oh yeah, here." I mean, they can even say, "Here's my new Lambo." No one's gonna question them. People can be like, "Oh yeah, this has to be their car." That's how it happens all the time. They're flexing when that's not really their car. They just rented it for a day or a week, and then they do that. Because I actually know people who rent fancy cars for a week, and then when they're done, they just go back and rent a different one. And, they pay a couple $100 a week to try to get that.
Yeah, it's like easy way to flex, but at the end of the week, it's like, well, what happened to the car? You're flexing it. Where's it at?
Uh-huh.
Flexing nowadays is just like faking everything.
Yeah, I know that there's a new business going around where it's like pretty much it's someone's house that they charge people to go in and take like Instagram photos.
They do that?
Yeah, it was in the city. They go in, they
I
take it's a well lit house. They take Instagram photos. They charge. It's like a new business. It was all over the radio for a
Is it
couple
like a giant
months.
mansion or is it like a artistic house?
It's a decent, yeah, it's an artistic house.
Alright, that makes more sense. I'm thinking it's like just a giant mansion that,
Mm-hmm.
people try to come and flex in. If it's more like artistic though, I can see like someone like me going in and trying to get like a nice picture.
Mm-hmm. All right. I think we're good on the first one. Now we can move on to the second one. So, for those of you that don't know, which kind of most people do because Call of Duty is a pretty big game, Modern Warfare is coming out later
Mm-hmm.
this year in October. Or actually, is it October or November? I don't really remember. I don't have the official release yet. I believe it's the end of October. Following the first gameplay footage of COD, Modern Warfare multiplayer mode, popular content creators were trying out the new gunfight. Um, Infinity Ward had responded to concerns that the gameplay is it's very different from classic Call of Duty Modern Warfare installment games, and that now that they have ditched the creative class and mini map and healing, leaving fans with a lot of concern that it's not like the originals with no creative class, no
Wait,
mini
what did they
map,
get
and
rid of?
different healings.
Create a class.
They have ditched creative class. They've also ditched
No,
healing, and
it's not Call of Duty.
they've also ditched
Yeah.
the whatchamacallit, um mini maps.
It's not Call of Duty. I agree with Black.
It's not Call of
Now
Duty.
they did say how they are keeping some modes, and they will have some modes with creative class and mini maps and the similar healing types to classic Modern Warfare games. So that being said,
But
it's
that's
not going to
still
be
not like, you
only.
can call it Modern Warfare, but that's not Call of Duty. Because Call of Duty has always had like creative class.
Mhm.
I don't
Exactly.
remember how far back when it like first came in, but I know since the history of Call of Duty, they've had the ability with minimaps and like creative class.
Uh huh.
And
Yeah.
if you take that out right now, and Call of Duty is under a lot of fire too.
Exactly.
With like Black Ops 4, I personally like Black Ops 4. I didn't like Infinite Warfare. I liked Advanced Warfare. I'm not like a die-hard Call of Duty fan, but I am a fan that grew up with Call of Duty my whole life. I've always bought the newest one, and I'm going to buy this one no matter what. But at
I
the same
got you.
time, it's like if you're gonna take all this stuff out, like with Black Ops 4, that was controversial. What they did with like, you have to make yourself heal, and that like takes a second. But now playing it, it's like, well, it's something new, it's different. But taking out the mini maps, you just make it hardcore, and then make it like a game, like just do core and hardcore.
Uh-huh.
Bring back the creative class. 'Cause that is Call of Duty. If we can't create a class, and there's like no reason to, like try and grind the game out and spend your money.
I'm pretty new when it comes to Call of Duty. The first one I got was Black Ops 3, and I loved World War II. Not really a big fan of BO4, personally. I believe that there's a lot of things in that game they could have made better, and I believe that they are rushing those games out because they've already confirmed that next year we're getting the next Call of Duty, the Black Ops game. And I'm like, listen, like, I understand that they're gonna make money. I understand that they're very much running out of ideas for Call of Duty. I thought they should go back, maybe make a second Ghost Games. I know that the first one wasn't really well taken, like received by fans and critics alike, but they know what they did wrong. They go back, they fix it. It gave me my favorite Call of Duty game mode ever was Infected, and that came out of Ghost. And I love playing that in World War II, and I think I'll enjoy Modern Warfare. But I also think that if they change up the amount of stuff that they are changing up, and they won't give people like the classic Modern Warfare feel, because if you're gonna make a Modern Warfare game, you got to make a Modern Warfare game. You can't add a whole bunch of futuristic shit to Modern Warfare.
Yeah,
that's not Modern Warfare. That's
community has been complaining about futuristics, and I feel like what Call of Duty did with World War II was a great idea. I know it wasn't perceived well, but they're going in the right direction. And when Black Ops 4 came out, everyone's like, this is not the direction we just wanted. I remember the commercials for World at War, and everyone was like, get the gang back together. And I know when I got the game, all my old Call of Duty friends were all playing again. And now they're just like, Black Ops 4? No.
Like
They need to go back to roots. They made, I think, 3 World War I games, not World War II. Or was it World War II?
I'm still waiting for a Vietnam era Call of Duty game. I know that part of Black Ops took place, but that was the story and not the actual game. No. Part of Black Ops story took place in Vietnam. They have yet to make a Vietnam era Call of Duty game, and I think they could. Maybe call it like Call of Duty Classified or something like that. They could find a way to make a Vietnam era Black Ops game, because Battlefield has yet to do that too. It's a very untapped Korean War too. Battlefield made a World War I game, and it was very well with Battlefield 1. Call of Duty made a few World War II games, and I love how that's like it's obviously one of the most well-known wars, but Vietnam could also be a lot of untapped potential. And when it comes to me and Call of Duty, I was a Halo player growing up, and a Gears of War 2, so I really recently only got into to Halo or to Call of Duty. And I mean, so far the franchises, World War II was, in my personal opinion, probably one of their better games, and Black Ops 4 is, in my personal opinion, one of their worst games, because I just don't like Black Ops 4. Do I play it every once in a while? Yeah, but not to the point where I'd actually say that I'm a fan.
My opinion on Black Ops 4, the only good thing that I've got completely out of this after playing it before even Christmas, when it first came out, because my friend got it and he wanted me to desperately get it, and I saved up my money and I bought it a week later after it came out. And since then, the greatest thing I say is in Black Ops 4 is the sniper mode, bare-bone snipers or bolt action.
I'm happy they had
because it's just like a giant throwback.
And I'm really happy they took a page out of Battlefield's book with assist counts as kill. And I'm really happy that they finally brought that into a COD game, because it really, if you do 90% of the work and your teammate's just the last bullet, you should get the kill. And Battlefield understood that, and now I'm happy that COD understands that you should be able to get the kill. Because, then it's not about you shithead, you stole my kill. It's not about that anymore. It's just about, trying to kill people and work as a team and stuff like that. And that's really what those games should be like.
I also think what killed Call of Duty is, if you used to watch all the old Call of Duty videos, everyone would always talk in the lobbies. But now, because of party, everyone's always in a party with their friends. It's not like a community game anymore. It's just more of a go in and try to get the biggest KD ratio.
And then actually, that happens a lot. Like, even if I go back, because I have Modern Warfare Remastered, which is the first game remastered, and if I go in there and I go into the game chat, there's always people talking in there. Because
There's always people
it's
talking,
just,
but
it's
you go
just
on Black Ops
different.
4, there's no one.
Exactly.
Whereas like with Black Ops 3, if you talked in the game, it lagged everyone. Like that's not good for a brand. Community is like the important thing. And when your community is not talking with one another, like I've made great friends off of Call of Duty. Do we talk anymore? Not really, because Call of Duty kind of died. In their opinion. In my opinion, I say for some stuff. For others, like Blackout, I could care less. If I wanted to play a Battle Royale, I would hop on Apex, I would hop on Fortnite. I'm not spending $60 to play a Battle Royale game when there's 2 free ones. You got Minecraft, H1Z1, PUBG. Those are all good Battle Royale games. This is Call of Duty. We're playing
I do
it
like to
for
think that
pretty much
Blackout was
multiplayer.
pretty substantial with Call of Duty getting in, because like, yeah, Fortnite's a big game, they made a lot of money, but obviously it's a free game, so they can really never actually measure how, and PUBG is one of the best selling games of all time. They sold like 50 million units or something like that. They sold a huge amount of profit, and if Fortnite was on that list, they'd be a lot higher than PUBG, and PUBG's like 8. They'd probably be like the 3rd or 4th best selling game of all time if they actually charged like even $10 for their game. Or like
Yeah,
$5.
Yeah, everyone plays Fortnite.
Huge.
Yeah, but
I have nothing
Especially
against
like
the game. I
a
like
year or
it.
two ago,
I don't like the
Fortnite was huge.
tryhards.
2018 was the huge year for Fortnite, and pretty much since then, Fortnite has plummeted in popularity. Apex Legends has only gotten bigger and bigger, but yet it's still failing to beat in popularity Fortnite.
From my point of view on Apex,
really
Apex
investing
was the
money
greatest.
into keeping-
Everyone talked about Apex.
Yeah, for about
But
a
now,
month, Apex
before season 2, no one's ever said a word. I haven't. The only time me and my friends talked about Apex Legends was when I said, "Remember that game when we used to play it that few times? No one plays it now. It was a good game on a good track."
They
And
invested
because
a lot in
Minecraft came
season
back,
2.
that's what's going to kill Fortnite.
They invested a lot in season 2 for Apex, because I watched the E3 press conference for EA, the EA Access E3, and they talked a lot about Apex season 2, and they talked about what they were bringing in. They're bringing in 3 new things. They're bringing in cosmetic skins. They're bringing in better graphics, and what they're doing for Apex to try to make it, because Respawn, they make great games. The Titanfall franchise was amazing, and the Titanfall franchise was only a thing because the people that made the original
The only
Modern
reason
Warfare
why
for Call of
Titanfall
Duty
died was because of EA. Everyone knows it.
when it came down to Titanfall, it's because Call of Duty fired the original developers, the group of guys that have developed the Modern Warfare games. So then they went to Respawn and said, "Hey, we want to build a game for you." And the result was Titanfall 1, which was freaking amazing. And then Titanfall 2 really moved on what it
Came out.
Instead of Titanfall 3 coming out, those same guys worked on Apex Legends. And since then, it's really worked out for them, and Apex is a pretty big game, and I've been trying to get back into Apex, because I hate Fortnite, and I don't really want to go back to Fortnite. And I know, like they're already past the World Cup, or it's World Cup next week, I think, the Fortnite World Cup that Fortnite's
I think
giving
World
away,
Cup
like,
might.
$50
I
million.
haven't heard anything from.
I'm pretty sure it's
haven't
next
heard
week
from the
or
World
this
Cup.
week. To the point where Fortnite's giving away like $50 million in prize money. They invested a lot. I mean, obviously, I think Tfue is the crowd favorite. I'm pretty sure he's about to take home all the bacon, and then he's about to use that money to fund his own organization. Then he's gonna sign Cloaksy and all that stuff, and then pretty much that's gonna be like the most dominant esports organization until one Tfue starts. But
On my point of view of Fortnite, and you can say yes or no. On my point, I feel like the reason why you hate Fortnite is because it's the biggest game and it's everywhere, correct? And like a bunch of kids play on it. And it's not like a good
it was
community
the
anymore.
biggest game. It is no longer the biggest game.
Well,
it was the biggest game.
at the time.
I disliked Fortnite. I mean, it was an okay game. It definitely it had a lot of memories with playing with my friends and then getting the squad on. But the only thing that I thank Fortnite for is I really thank them for Ninja, and the reason why I say that is because I believe firmly that Ninja put gaming ahead. Um, Because most people, when they think of gaming, they think of like the fat guy that's 50 years old that lives in his mom's basement that doesn't do anything. And when they see this ninja, who was the world's biggest player and most popular player for a whole year, they see this skinny, tall, decent looking guy who's, married and
Making money off of
making his
this.
huge money. That definitely he was on talk shows, he was on Ellen, he was on Jimmy Fallon, and he really put out there, and he put gaming ahead for, I would probably say, at least 15, 20 years, because then like parents are actually trying to get their kids involved in gaming to like as a possible career path for them, because it really is fun to do. Now obviously anything you do for 40 hours a week might not be as enjoyable, because obviously you could see
Yeah.
that took a toll on Ninja, like that one live stream he came on, he literally looked like a ghost. He had bags under his eyes and really like pale skin, and he needs to get some sleep. And when you play something and it becomes your job, some of the enjoyment is kind of taken away because it's now your job.
Well,
It's
look
just something
at
you do.
like PewDiePie. I don't know if you like him or not, but look at
PewDiePie's
him.
a
He
good
used to
guy.
do gaming, and he just stopped because it wasn't enjoyable for him. He was like trying to make games that he didn't enjoy, and he had to fake it. And he was like, "Well, I don't like this. I'm not gonna fake it." And if you look at him now, from him stopping, gaming, this made him even bigger. Gaming is important to YouTube because it brings in like views, and you can just stretch out the time. But when you can tell that the person playing the game is not enjoying it, then there's no point of the game.
Gaming, gaming is a multi-trillion-dollar, I think, at this point industry, and it's pretty much been like that for the last 5-10 years. And esports on its own is looking to pass by 2020. By next year, esports is going to pass every major American sport other than the NFL by 2020, and I think that's because football is embedded in our DNA. We watch it on Thanksgiving, and soccer is embedded overseas, and hockey's embedded in Canada that they play from a very young age, and in esports isn't embedded in anything. It's just something that you can watch and do that, and really, there's a lot of things that can be traced back to really gaming success, but the first person shooter game ever was Doom from 1993, and that was really influential. And that pretty much laid the foundation for the genre. Any game that you think of in any first person shooter game, the whole key is to not stop moving. You ever play Halo story mode, you stop moving, you die, and that really came from Doom.
Mm.
And then the whole engine with story, having decent story games, and Call of Duty took a lot from Halo, and Halo took a lot from Doom. With the engines and stuff like that, and I think that Halo was probably one of the most influential games when it comes to esports, because they were the first game to ever have an esports league starting in 2004, 2003. And pretty much what they did was they were the first ones to ever sign a commitment contract with Cablevision, the television provider, to have their matches forecasted on live television. They were the first ones to ever do that, and because of their failure, and I love Halo, but Halo 4 was a pretty shit game, and that allowed Call of Duty and Gears and all that stuff to kind of rise up and have their own version of that. And now Halo's kind of fallen off the map in terms of esports. A lot of Halo pros then became COD pros, like Formal, Enable, like all those good guys who were Halo pros then went over to COD to because they have better financial backing, and the seasons are longer, they make more money.
Then some in Halo, like Halo, and then like all the greats retired. Like the ones that are still playing did with COD.
I mean, we still have a lot of Halo pros that still play, and they've been playing for the last decade, like Pistola and Snipe Down and Snakebite. They've been all playing for at least 7, 8 years. And Pistola, I mean, you look at a photo from him from like 2006, he looks nothing like what he looks like now. And Halo, I mean, they hold the record for largest esports payout, and it was $3 million. No other team did that because Halo's innovative. They're groundbreaking. Their new game, Halo Infinite's probably be one of the best selling games of all time because they're investing so much into it to make it that game.
Didn't they invest like $1 billion into it?
600 million. It's the largest video game project ever. They invested more than Rockstar invested into Red Dead and GTA 5 Online, and because the more money, obviously, the more money you put in, the better the game's going to be. It's quality over quantity.
It was
God
like,
has yet to
God
master
bless
that.
Bungie, but, and like, I thank them for Halo and them inventing it, but with like Destiny, I know there's gonna, like, Destiny was a good game, don't get me wrong,
I dislike Destiny.
and I remember the way Destiny died for me, because I loved playing with my friends, but it's the moment that you had to, like, buy your way to continue actually, like, playing the game and leveling up. I remember playing Destiny and getting my like first legendary, and you had to be like a level 40, I believe, to get like to use the armor. And if you didn't want to buy their season pass, the highest level you get is like 36. That was the day Destiny died.
Destiny, I mean, yeah, it was made by Bungie, but I think that like with creative control for like those decisions might have been out of the developers. That's more the publisher decides that. So whoever published Destiny probably made that
for sure. And it was like Destiny was a good game and it looks great, and I loved playing it, but it's a pay-to-win game. You can't change my mind. No one can change my mind that Destiny wasn't a pay-to-win game, especially Destiny 2. There's a reason why you don't hear about Destiny 2 anymore.
I think Halo, like, because after Halo 3, which was the last one Bungie made, Bungie wanted more money because Halo 3 and Halo 2 were groundbreaking, and they sold a shitload of copies of both those games. So much that I think some kid killed his mother over her taking away his Halo 3. I think I remember watching a YouTube video where like number 2 was like some kid killed his mother for taking away Halo 3. That guy must have really loved Halo. And when Bungie asked for more money and Microsoft said no, I think that's probably one of their worst decisions they ever made as a company. Because then they went and had success with Destiny, and Halo 4 was not successful with 343.
Yeah.
Halo 4 was very much not successful. Sold a lot of copies, just wasn't a Bungie level Halo game.
I know Halo 5 did better.
Yeah,
Halo 5 is annoying to get into a custom games, from my point of view at least. Because it takes just way too long to load into a game. But when you load into a game, it's fun. And when Halo Infinite comes out, I feel like it's going to be a great game, groundbreaking.
They made the new engine for it, the Slipspace engine. They completely redid the engine. It's good.
But what's going to kill Halo is going to be paying for stuff. It's like,
a lot of those.
It's like with the loot boxes or the crates.
A lot of the paying for.
With Halo 5, the craze is just a pain. It's technically considered gambling, which, COD could get sued, Halo could get sued, but they're not.
Battlefront almost lost an entire game because of it. Because they made people pay for loot drops, and then it's a hard thing to prove that they gambled and all that stuff. Like that's why it's difficult to prove. I think we should.
It's like CS:GO. People know that it's like it's gambling.
So we gotta move along here. All right, number 3. Matt Nade Shot Hog explained on his how FaZe Clan is still the biggest esports organization out there, despite him owning the 100 Thieves brand. Dennis Cloakzy Lepore, formerly of FaZe Clan, was a guest on the Courage and Nade Shot show, and he answered questions ranging from what's it like living with superstar Fortnite player Turner Tifu Tenny, and what his relationship is with his now former organization FaZe Clan. So on the show, they asked him. Now that's when he was still on FaZe Clan. Right a little bit after the show, he officially left. So he couldn't, and he like a lot of people knew that he was already leaving and stuff like that because he lives with Tifu, and then Tifu has the whole lawsuit with FaZe Clan and all that stuff. So obviously, living with the guy, you're probably not going to stay with the organization. You're going to roll with wherever Tifu goes. And they've been good friends for years now at this point. Right to when they both played Destiny, 1 together. So apparently he was on the show and they asked him, hey, what's your relationship with FaZe Clan? And he's like, oh yeah, I got a great relationship with the owners, and they're really nice guys, and they're like, oh, what's it like living with Tifu? And then he didn't really go into like a lot with what's it like living with Tifu. And I think he probably tried to avoid that because he didn't want to maybe hurt his feelings, or didn't want to tip off the organization that he's leaving. Because like this has kind of been the 100 Thieves FaZe Clan rivalry, because a couple months ago, Nick Merckx, who's another popular streamer, left 100 Thieves because he said that he was promised by Nade Shot a percentage of the company and he never paid out. So then he turned around and said, you know what, I'm going to screw you, I'm going to leave. And then he went and go side with FaZe Clan. And then, a few FaZe members have left, and previously the Arkham guy just signed with 100 Thieves. And then Dr. Disrespect just got another guy signed too. But the FaZe 100 Thieves rivalry, heating up. I mean, COD World League playoffs is in week. This weekend, COD World League playoffs. What do you guys feel about that? With the whole
I gave you my opinion about it. If you want to go, why argue? It's his choice.
I don't know what point to actually talk about. I was just gonna go off of the Tifu part, and you can stop me whenever I go too far. But with Tifu, I feel like he was planning on leaving at that point, right? When he was talking about that.
Oh
If
no!
I was him, I
Tifu wasn't the one at the talk show. It was Cloakzy who was at the talk show. Yes, and they asked him about what's it like living with Tifu, and how is your, because he also left FaZe.
Yeah, I feel like when you're talking about a company and you're not so sure about it, I would have said, they're great guys. I have nothing against them, but we have some, if he didn't say I'm leaving or not, you go into detail, don't go into detail. Everyone knows whatever you say is going to be on a document. And if that was Tifu and he says, they all treat me well, if you went and try to get out of the FaZe Clan and he said, they try to get me to do stuff, they're going to hold that talk show up. It's just I don't want to get too far into it because I don't know that much. But
I mean,
because
the
you just have to watch
lawsuit
out what you say.
Is pretty much he's suing FaZe because he believes that FaZe was preventing him from making money. With the whole, he tried to get sponsors for just his stream, and then when FaZe said no, you can only use our thing, then he got a little upset, and then FaZe, with the write-up for his contract, FaZe could have took a lot much more money than, if he was about to win 10 million, FaZe could come in and take 5 of that from him. And I think really because he's planning on winning the World Cup, the Fortnite World Cup, I think that he's gonna turn around and think that he wants to be out of the contract so that he can't win $30 million and have FaZe come in and take 15. Because just because
Yeah.
in the past they didn't want to take the money from him, it doesn't mean in the future they're not going to take the money from him. And that's really the whole nature of the lawsuit. And FaZe Clan is not a licensed employer, and that's why FaZe is going to get in a lot of trouble. And this is really a groundbreaking lawsuut in terms of esports, because most of the times the esports organizations aren't licensed employers. So
The thing I'm gonna say is I've never been signed by anyone. I sort of just play games for fun. I'm not like I play competitively, but I'm not over here like winning 30 mil, or I'm playing casual because I enjoy the game. And if someone wants to do like a competition, I'm like, yeah, I'm down. Something to do. But when you come to that contract, it's like you gotta. It's not like you just bought a new iPhone and they want you to read the agreement and you just go nah and sign. It's when it comes to an actual contract, pretty much based on your life and your living, you have to like work stuff out. Contracts should be made to be changeable to the person that's trying to get the person to sign and the person signing. So from like Tifu's point of view, is yes, he's trying to get out, and technically, if FaZe wants to take money, it's in the contract. But at the same time, if FaZe screws up, like someone like Banks, who's using FaZe pretty much to, he's the owner or co-owner, or the higher up on FaZe, that's going to affect his living a lot too. So, with like Tifu and FaZe fighting it out, it's affecting them a lot.
He'll have no problem winning with the fact that they're not a licensed employer. That's where they went wrong. And that's where he's gonna win. He'll win that easily because you're not a licensed employer and you're signing legally binding contracts for employment, and you're not a licensed employer. Obviously, anyone can see how that's a problem. And with FaZe Clan, they're upset because when they found Tifu, he barely had 100 followers on Twitch, and he was up and coming, and they liked his stream, and they liked what he brought to the table, and they invested a lot of time, money, effort, blood, sweat, and tears in trying to make him a star. And then now it finally worked out. He's had his fair share of success, and now he wants to
he's like, screw it, I'm gonna go.
He's like, yeah, they even Banks said that his contract was shit, and they tried to offer him a new one in which he had more creative control, he can get his own thing. And then Tifu, when they offered him that, Tifu was like, nah, man, I don't want to sign with you guys. I want you guys to release my contract, and if you don't, I'll sue. And now he's going through the lawsuit. We haven't really gotten any word on it in the last couple of weeks. I think it's all being settled privately if they do settle it, and if not, it's going to go to court.
The best way to settle it is privately. But it's
they
like,
probably will settle this privately.
I can't go in too much on this detail because, I was sort of following it. It's like the H3H3 with like reviewing other people's channels versus just copying and paste it. And how it's like when you do his lawsuit, you think it's going to be over quickly and it's not going to, affect him, like, money-wise. But, like, with H3H3, they're like, oh shit, this is actually real life. We gotta do something about it. And it lasted 2 years, and a hell of a lot of money came out of their pocket that they needed, like, other people's support to help them out in the lawsuit. It's not gonna be easy. Best thing to do is go private. Don't make this such a social media thing, because whatever way it turns out, the other person's gonna get flagged. So if FaZe wins, Tifu's career could just plummet, even though he's like favorite. by like him not wanting to do with FaZe, you know, he could just destroy the reputation and, you know, screw up like everything. So it's like they have to come to a good balance. And, you know, Tfue said he didn't want to sign with them, they want to leave. But who's stopping Tfue from doing the exact same stuff with this new organization? Wanting to make money off of people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is a capitalism. America's capitalism. It's money. What's the best way to make money, you know? Make your own organization. Not really, like, leech off of them, but take some of their money because they're under your brand. And then the people that's part of the, you know, getting their money sort of, like, taken away. You know, what's stopping them from suing from Tfue? So it's like good intentions, but at the same time, it's... You gotta watch out.
I mean, the Optic Gaming COD team was almost completely disbanded after Immortals bought them out. But you know that's esports is it's a new type thing, and if
it's a new
Tfue
thing, and
wins,
it's very like touchy to get in.
If Tfue wins,
like
they're gonna be managed like NFL and MLB players, and when they had to go get a contract, they're gonna have to call a management company. Management companies or the agents gonna have to come in. They're gonna talk to organization. Then they're gonna sign, which means then the management company's got to be paid, and it's more money flowing around, but it's less money the players get to take home, which is why it's bad. So we got to move on here because we're already like 40 minutes in, and we still got a couple of things left. Okay. I hate to cut everyone off, but our last thing we covered 8 things, and the episode was 50 minutes, and we only have 6 or 5 on this one, and we're already 41 minutes in. Okay. 3. Terrifying video captures Delta Airlines MP-88 engine from mid-flight, pretty much engulfing in flames. So the rotor, I guess, was broken, and in the back you started seeing the flames. And Delta figured out pretty fast what was happening because the guy was videotaping it, and I guess he said something, and they made an emergency landing at a close by airport. So that's pretty terrifying. You guys could go watch the video. And I watched it. And I think if I saw that, I'd probably hit the fence. I would have assumed the worst. I would have assumed that plane was going down.
Flying is a scary thing. You know, I've flown before, but at the same time, it's like, you know, when you're 10,000 feet, I believe, is like the top of the like planes fly. That is scary when you see your engine on fire.
Yeah, definitely.
But at the same time, the pilots did a good thing. Was anyone killed or hurt? Do you know?
No one was hurt. They landed pretty fast. I guess they were really close to an airport. So they landed pretty fast, and they got everybody out, and no one was hurt.
And it's like, you know, congrats on the pilots, because, you know, pilots are trained for something like this to happen. They're trained for all possible outcomes. If a passenger gets sick, if the engine explodes, if there's like a tornado or hurricane, you know, they're trained to do their job and keep everyone safe.
Airlines spend a lot of money in project modules so that they're able to react in those situations. And
it's like, you know, the thing that you have to think of is, it's scary, but at the same time, you have to have, like, faith. And, you know, I'm not pushing towards religion. I'm not, like, super religious. But it's like, you have to have, like, you know, you gotta trust the pilots to know what they're doing. Because if the engine explodes, what are you gonna do? Jump out of the plane with a parachute on your back and make it like a Mission Impossible sequence? No.
someone told me is like
So
I
congrats.
won't go skydiving, and I'm like, why? He's like, because I don't want to jump out of a perfectly good airplane. I'm like, and I looked at him, I'm like, well, I don't think you want your first time jumping out of an airplane to be when you have no other choice.
Yeah.
He's like, you got a good point there. The next one's actually pretty well. I guess I wouldn't say funny, but it's whimsical, definitely. Unique, out there, peculiar, whatever word you would like to use. But Buffalo Wild Wings fired a waitress, told a African American customer that her skin was too dark. So the waitress was at a bar. I guess she was a bartender waitress, and I guess when she was given an ID by a customer because they wanted to order an alcohol beverage, and she reportedly said that sometimes the only way to tell with black people is that their eyes and smiles there because they're too dark to tell. Because I guess they were looking at the ID and there's like, oh, maybe she couldn't see anything, and the only way to give it away was because the person had their mouth open. Buffalo Wild Wings did release a statement about the situation that they did terminate the woman, and I guess the person that had it happen to was greatly compensated because they never really came out and said anything about it. It's just kind of the witnesses were the one that really came out and said, and that's what built the story out. But
Yeah.
a little interesting story there from Buffalo Wild Wings.
That's just a thing you don't say. You keep it in your mind.
Yeah, clearly
And be
that
like-
girl's not the smartest tool in the shed. Or the sharpest tool in the shed. There we go.
And
I
it's
was at
like,
Buffalo Wild Wings.
it's 2019, and you gotta just be careful what you say in general to not make anyone mad.
Exactly.
Because
We're
I
in a
know
very offensive time.
we're living in like a time where you have to think before you say anything. And I know from my point of view, as like a teenager, it's like, who cares? Well, it's like, well,
Someone clearly did.
they can sue you for everything. They can take your livelihood because you offended them, and they got the perfect, like lawyer to come after you.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, me working in like the fast food industry, I'm not gonna say where because, my safety. But working in the fast food, if someone gets mad, I mean, it's like the best thing to do is just show no like anger or anything. Even if you do get angry, just try not to talk shit. You just be like, hey, I'm sorry, I'll try to fix this out. We'll make you new food. With the ID, I could, I don't want like dip my toe in the water. But the best thing to do is just be like, alright, should I just say yes? Like,
Yes,
is there any
yes.
other features?
We actually have a video they show us at where I work, and I can really give it, a hell shit less. There's over 500,000 national associates, and if they were even to, narrow that down, it would pretty much be a needle in a very, very large haystack to find me. But I work at Home Depot, and we're not required, but encouraged to watch these videos about how to deal with angry customers. And the first thing they say is listen.
Just
Make
be
sure
calm.
that you're listening. Listen, acknowledge, which means that you're supposed to say. Let's say some guy came in and he's like, "Oh yeah, you guys gave me the wrong thing. Some idiot over there said that this was a 6-inch screw. I needed an 8-inch screw, and he got the order confused." And you're supposed to listen, then you're supposed to acknowledge. He's like, "I'm sorry that the other guy gave you the wrong screw, and we'll be able to fix it right now." And then it's like, after you acknowledge and you do that, and sometimes even if they're still angry, you try to get management involved, escalate it to the point where it's not really your problem anymore. Because obviously, during the interview they ask you all the time, so give me an example of a time you were put under pressure. But when you're put under pressure, what do you expect to do? You expect to go try to find a manager from somebody who's more trained on handling aggressive customers than you are.
Yeah.
I'm a guy. I'm a lot guy. So most of the times people people don't really ask me questions because I don't really know anything because I work outside all day, and the only time I go inside is to go to the bathroom and go on break. So I'm not really.
I know, working from my point of view, I've had this one customer who, I guess the order was a little late, and, I said sorry, I try to make it better. I said, let me fix her food, let me get you, she ordered a foot long. So I went in, I said, hey, let's fix this, and she just kept on trying to, like, bring more stuff up. And I'm a passive person. I don't like fighting, I don't like getting angry. It never comes out pretty. It always comes out bad. And so I said, hey, look, there's a customer outside. I'm trying to help her, but I'm not getting any, like, help, or she's not saying anything for me to be able to help her. And apparently it, like, just blew up, and she just gave the girl coupons and just said, here you go, come back, use them. And then she tried to get mad at the coupons when she said this was expired. And it said printed in 2018, valid until December 2019. And she was trying to say that this coupon's invalid, and we're like, you can still use the coupons no matter what. There is an expiration date, and it's still valid. The best thing to do is just not lose your cool, not say anything to make them mad.
Body language is key in those moments. Like,
It
don't
is.
cross your arms.
Don't make a fist.
Don't do anything like that. Definitely don't cross. Don't make a fist. Don't cross your arms. Put like a laid back demeanor, but not too laid back to the point where you're not listening. And
Yeah.
because that
Not like a stoner.
Being like a neutral thing. Feet shoulder width apart, with your sit up straight. Try to look as don't shoot him a smile or be weird or anything, because that might also be, oh, is this funny to you? You joking or anything around? That might piss him off even more. So don't make a smile or anything. Just sit there, try to listen to the best of your ability, and then that's gonna be it. But let's move on here to our last order of business, media. Very quick sports update. Currently, in the top of the seventh, the Nationals are beating the Phillies 3-0. In mid-fifth, it's still 0-0 between the Blue Jays and the Yankees. And at the top of the fourth, the Marlins are topping the Mets 4-2. So, that's our quick sports update. And finally, Mortal Kombat, which is a beloved video game franchise that's made actually a few movies, is getting a reboot. Now, the first movie came out back in 1995, and then the second one was 1997, and they were both, commercially they did okay, critically not really that much. They are getting a reboot in 2021. It already looks like they're learning from the mistakes of the last one, because last one, when they released it, CGI was a very new technology in 1995 and 1997. So definitely with better CGI will greatly impact and benefit the new Mortal Kombat trilogy. Hopefully it is, or not trilogy, the new Mortal Kombat movie. It might even become a trilogy. It's scheduled for a 2021 release. It will be rated R, and it will feature fatalities for the first time in a film. For the first time in the interview, which I'm actually very interested to see. And I'm very excited that it's rated R, and there will be very little kiddos running around there, and I hope to see a nice film without no kiddos there.
Well, that's what they said about the first Deadpool, but parents brought kids to see Deadpool. There is a rating system for a reason.
Well, I understand that most movies are rated R, and that sometimes it's not really deserving of the rated R nature, and I understand that. Like old movies from the 80s and 90s, like The Blues Brothers from 1980 was an R-rated movie. There's no fucking reason why that movie should be rated R. There's no nudity, there's no nothing, there's just foul language, okay? And like obviously people
But it's
can
like
handle that.
nowadays you have Deadpool 2, and you have Logan. just because they're a superhero movie doesn't mean you should still bring your children to see it. I've
I know
watched
that
all
the
three of them.
parents are pretty upset.
I can say that, you know, even for those parents that are laid back, just be like, wait till they're at least 16.
Like with M-rated games,
Because by the
90% of games in the market now are M-rated, and that's not really fair for the
Are
kids
M-rated.
getting involved. Because like
But
Batman
everyone
is
knows
M-rated.
kids
Like, are
are
you
gonna
kidding
get-
me? Why is freaking Batman M-rated? Why? Like, there's
But
no
everyone also
reason.
knows that with video games wise, kids are gonna play M-rated games.
Exactly.
And
we live in
most games are M-rated, but it's
There's
also
ways
not like
around it,
movies.
too.
It's like GTA. My dad, he kept on saying there's like stuff in GTA. Well, you can't just look at GTA for like a single scene or two and base everything off of it.
and a lot of
GTA,
people, it's like, oh yeah, the
if you're gonna buy your
strip
kid
club.
GTA,
Huge problem.
don't buy a 9-year-old GTA. Buy a 15, 16-year-old GTA.
Exactly.
When they have more knowledge and they know, oh, hey, this is wrong, and they can make your judgment, and you actually can, like, punish them properly.
A couple months ago, my aunt asked if it was appropriate for my younger brother to get GTA. My younger brother is he's 11 now. No, he turns 11 in October. So he was 10 when she was asking him. I didn't say flat out no. I just said, could he get it? Sure. Would it be the best decision? Probably not, because there is a lot of mature aspects in that, and there is a strip club. There is a huge amount of stuff. There's a lot of drugs. There's a lot of violence, and if you think that he's able to handle that level of stuff, going from and like my brother plays a lot of Fortnite and plays a lot of Mario games, and going from Mario games to GTA is a huge jump.
It is.
In maturity level. And I mean, listen, I wasn't allowed to play M-rated games since I was at least 15 and old enough to really maturely accept those concepts of games. And before that, I played a lot of Sonic and Mario too, and it was a massive jump. And she automatically decided that he wasn't ready for it. I said at least wait till he's 14, 15, and then maybe ask him. And because it's a mature game, and it's a lot to handle for someone. And it's like, do you really go to the strip club a lot? No. Like, I've probably been to the strip club 3 times in the entire 3 years I had the game.
Yeah, strip club is not like an actual thing that you really
It's
do
not
much
like
with.
a huge thing. Like, yeah, every once in a while.
And especially when like every single teenager has a phone, they can find a way.
Desensitized. You don't really care about going.
I give GTA a lot of praise, but at the same time, don't give your 9-year-old a copy of Grand Theft Auto and think it's just gonna be like the next Call of Duty.
Exactly.
It's not.
Just like that mom that thought it was appropriate to take her kids to Deadpool and Venom and all those movies, and she found out very fast that it wasn't a kids movie. It's just because it's separate from the Marvel, so Marvel really is the one that cares about the whole shebang with kid friendly and stuff like that. So we found out very fast that Fox didn't really give a shit whether she brought the kiddos to the movie or not, because
And it's like, it's a mom, correct? Or dad?
yeah, it was a mother that brought her kids to see Deadpool.
It's a mother. The mother can't sue or anything. Because what could she sue for? Bringing her son to an M-rated game or a R-rated movie, and hearing like profanity and seeing body skin.
I mean, I'm not
And having
sure what,
scenes.
what
You
guys
can't
did
sue for that.
what you guys did, but when I was a kid, I'm a little, I'm a little bit older than you, Blood Dragon. I think Holy One's a little bit older than me. But I used to give money to my brother, and for him to get me the game. Or now, this day and age, you can get an M-rated game by going online, and they don't card people online. With an R-rated movie, you got to show ID to get in. But if you go with a parent or someone who's older than 21, you can get right in there. You can bring them in. My brother brought me and my friend with the whole R-rated movie thing, and my mother did a few times. But me and my friends were already like 16, 15 at the time we did that. I was in 12, 13, trying to sneak into an R-rated movie to the point where I could see it. I like movies a lot, but I never really liked those movies. I hated scary movies growing up too, and I hated roller coasters. And now I love scary movies. I love roller coasters. So now things change.
I know you couldn't say on my perspective. I'm gonna give my perspective. I guess my friends. I'm gonna say I'm not throwing shade at them, but they're gonna, I got through my friends. I played Crash when I was little. I played Spyro. I almost said Skyrim. Like I play the typical kids games, and they had Call of Duty. They had, I think, all the Call of Duties besides the first one. They had all the Halos, and we'd always play that. And the parents, they're watching us. They're making sure they would never buy anyone GTA. Because they knew the game. They said, hey, y'all are so kids. My mom bought me GTA. I told her about it. Did she do her research or not? I'm not sure. But I said, there's stuff in GTA. I showed her the back of it. She said, not yet. Wait till you're a little bit older. I got older, and she bought it for me. I don't remember the first time I went to go see an R-rated movie, but it was Paranormal Activity, so it's not like, I'm seeing skin or hearing a lot of profanity. It's more of a horror movie. But, as I said, if you're a parent, don't take your kids to go see an R-rated movie when they're 6. No matter what. Not even if there's like anything bad in the movie. Give them just, it's your 6-year-old and they're still learning, like teach them stuff. I'm not saying like force school on them or anything, but like open their mind up. Because I guess I'm sort of antisocial, and I have a reason. I was in the hospital a lot when I was younger, so I used to I couldn't do too much. I had TV, I had a PlayStation 1, we got a PlayStation 2. If you're raising your kid in 2019, from what, like 2015 to now, just don't throw your kid in front of a TV. Because they're going to be antisocial, and it's going to make living for them harder. You're a parent. You're not a babysitter.
I'm very much antisocial. And what you said that reminded me of that one part from Family Guy where Peter, they get paid by this kid to find a lucky baseball card, but then he knows he has a pierced ears, and he says, "You go home and tell your mother that she's supposed to be a parent, not a friend."
Yeah. And with my dad, I don't mind saying this. I'm not assuming everyone, but most parents in America nowadays, they're divorced. I'm 17. I see my mom as a parent, and I see my dad as a parent, but not as much as a parent as my mom. Because I live with my mom, and I'm good with my dad's. And when he tries to be a parent, I say, hey, listen, I know you're trying to do this, but I'm 17. That sort of parenting curve is kind of gone. By the age of 17, 16, you can't really parent your kids too much because you're gonna have backlash. They will fight.
Yeah, I mean,
and one good explanation is not to take away their phone because they made you mad. Because if you take away their phone, depression and a lot of mental disorders are a thing. I'm not throwing shade at it. From my past, I've had, not from my parents divorcing, but medical-wise, I have some mental problems. Taking away a phone is not good. Because I find happiness being on YouTube and like having a good laugh watching YouTubers. And my mom's like, I know that you're probably watching, like stuff with language. Just put headphones in. Don't copy.
I watched this one show, and they curse so much. The channel is still on, but they have an archive channel, so like they don't post any new stuff. And it's a Potent show, and they're freaking hilarious. And my brother actually knew one of Damien, one of the people that owned the channel, and I started watching them, and they're freaking hilarious. And it's a shame because they had a decent run, like they had a couple 100,000 subscribers, and I loved watching them, and I always would let a couple build up in videos and then go and have a marathon of Ponage where I watch like the newest 5-10 episodes, and it brought me a lot of joy. And like I don't throw shade at anyone. Obviously, I believe people that have mental issues, but I also think that in this day and age, a lot of people think that they have an issue when they really don't have an issue. Like obviously,
Or it's like they fake their mental issues or something to like get attention. Like people posting pictures. I know this one girl that like posted a picture with a knife near her neck. And be like, I have to do this so someone can actually like see something's wrong. That's not something wrong. In my opinion, that's, hey, give me attention.
Exactly.
I don't talk about like my issues ever.
Spend your time.
The only person I ever talk is my friend. And it's like, why? Because I trust him, but I also don't want like the attention of having. I don't want that attention because I, mentally am not happy at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Not everyone needs to know that you have a mental problem. I'm not saying having a mental problem is bad. I'm saying telling everyone, hey, look at me. I'm depressed and I'm cutting my hand. Look at it. That's not looking for help. That's sort of feeling it. It's
I know a lot of people have issues to the point where they have low self-esteem, and it could also be like the whole oh yeah, I hate myself, poor self-image, that. I never really understood why, like the point where people were like, hey, what was it? I don't remember that movie. It's like shit. Some guy I think it's Chris Rock, he walks up, he's like, hey, you're white, smile. God, why don't we all just do that? I think the world would be a little bit better.
It's like, we're put on Earth. We don't know if we're going to come back, but we do know we're going to die. Leave a good image. If you're not happy, hang with friends that make you happy. And like, everyone's there to help you, but the internet doesn't need to know. It's like with Pete Davidson. He says, I'm doing this not because I want the attention, but I'm trying to help others, like, with the problems. I think he says he has depression and he has bipolar. And it's like, good on him. He's not asking for attention. He's asking people to help in those situations for people that can't get the help.
I read a post, and it was a meme chat, and they put a quote, and it's like, in life you'll meet two people, one to drag you down and one to lift you up, and in the end you'll end up thanking them both. So I think this is about. We can probably end it here. I think we talked about everything, you guys. Unless you guys have any current events you guys want to talk about, I think this is about it.
I am good.
I think it went pretty well.
Alright, this is CGL Carnage Chris signing out. Thanks for watching, everyone.